Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a look at something called Agentic AI.
Oh, this is interesting. It's potentially a really big change in how we think about artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
I mean, you've probably seen AI doing certain things, but uh, agentic AI, that's totally different. We're talking about AI tackling really complex problems by working together in a coordinated way.
Yeah, and thinking through those problems step by step, improving as it goes. Sort of like, how we as humans solve difficult problems. It's not just one and done.
Exactly. It's like a whole new level of AI moving beyond those single interactions to something that can handle more like comprehensive and complex stuff. It's a pretty big leap from what we've seen so far.
Absolutely. And to break this all down, we have some really cool resources. We'll be looking at a talk from Dr. Andrew Ng, a real pioneer in AI.
Oh yeah, he's the co-founder of Google Brain, was the
Yeah.
chief scientist at Baidu, and founded Coursera.
Right, a very credible voice in this space. And he gave this fascinating talk at Sequoia.
Sequoia. They have an incredible track record. They were early backers of companies like Apple, Google, and Airbnb. So when they start paying attention to something new, it's worth taking notice.
100%. We also have two really in-depth articles that dive deeper into this whole idea of agentic AI and what it could mean for the future.
Sounds like we've got our work cut out for us.
We do, but that's what we're here for. So let's dive in. Our mission today is to define exactly what agentic AI is, how it's different from those individual AI agents we hear about, and where all of this might be headed.
And maybe, like, why anyone should care, right?
For sure, we'll definitely get into that. But first, let's start with the basics. How does this agentic AI thing actually work?
Well, to really grasp that, it's helpful to look at how we use those big language models, the LLMs, right now. Think about it.
It's that very straightforward back and forth, right? You give the LLM a single prompt, like a question or instruction, and it spits out a single answer.
Precisely. Dr. Ng compares it to trying to write an entire essay without a backspace key.
Oh, that's a great analogy. You can't go back, you can't refine, you just have to get it perfect on the first try. That's how we use a lot of AI today.
And it works to a point. But it really limits what these models can do, especially with more complex tasks. They can't really think things through. They can't improve on their first attempt.
Now enter agentic workflow. This is where things get interesting.
Much more dynamic, much more like how we as humans tackle problems.
Dr. Ng uses another analogy here, comparing it to writing an essay,
Yeah.
but this time you can outline, do research, write a draft, revise, and then revise again. That cycle, that ability to improve over time, that's key to the whole idea of agentic AI.
It's the power of iteration. You get to experiment, refine, and get closer to the best possible solution. It's like human problem solving, but with the speed and potential of AI.
Okay, so we're starting to see how this iterative thinking unlocks a new level for AI. It gets closer to how we think and how we solve problems. But before we go further, let's get some definitions straight. What exactly is an AI agent?
So according to our sources, an AI agent is like a building block. It has a specific role, maybe a personality or a certain function, within a larger system.
Like a specialist, right? Someone with a defined skill set, working on a specific part of a project.
Exactly. And it's often powered by an LLM, but not always. It could be a tool as well, like a web search engine or an API, something an LLM can use to get things done.
Okay, so that's an AI agent. But what about agentic AI itself? How is that different?
Agentic AI is the big picture. It's the system, the approach, the framework. It uses one or more AI agents working together iteratively to achieve some complex goal.
So going back to the analogy, if each AI agent is a specialist, agentic AI is the whole team working together. You've got your writers, your editors, your fact checkers, all collaborating, reviewing each other's work, and refining that final product.
Exactly. It's the whole process. And that process is designed to be iterative, to involve planning, acting, reflecting, and revising, just like how humans solve problems in the real world.
Got it. So an AI agent is the individual piece, and agentic AI is how all those pieces fit together and work as a whole.
Precisely. And that brings us to the key characteristics of agentic AI. I think the biggest one is, how these agents work together. It's not a one-off thing. It's iterative and collaborative.
Yeah, that's the real game changer. It's not like the typical back and forth with an LLM. Instead, you have this constant communication and interaction happening between different agents.
And that allows agentic AI to tackle much more complex problems than we've seen before. It breaks down those huge tasks into smaller parts that individual agents can handle, kind of like dividing and conquering.
It's like having a whole team of experts focused on different aspects of a problem rather than just one person trying to do everything.
Exactly. And those agents can have different roles, different tools, even be based on different AI models.
Hmm.
So you're getting a much more comprehensive and nuanced approach to finding solutions.
Okay, so just to recap, we've got the AI agent, which is the individual component, the building block. Then we have agentic AI, which is the overall system, the approach that dictates how those agents interact and work together.
Perfect summary. And now let's get into how all this actually works in practice. I mean, does it really make a difference?
One of the sources, Dr. Eng, gave a really interesting example using something called the human evil coding benchmark. This benchmark basically tests how well AI can solve coding problems.
And what's interesting is that a GPT 3.5 model, when used in an agentic workflow, actually outperformed a standard GPT-4 model.
That's surprising. You'd think GPT-4 being more advanced would naturally be better.
Right, but the key is that GPT 3.5 was allowed to think and iterate, just like a human programmer would.
So the typical way of using these models, what's called zero-shot prompting, is like asking the AI to write perfect code on the first try, which, let's be honest, isn't how coding actually works.
Not at all. Humans test, debug, refine. We don't just magically produce perfect code out of thin air. Agentic workflows capture that process, and it clearly leads to better results.
So how do these agentic workflows actually achieve that? What are the secret ingredients?
Dr. Eng highlights a few key design patterns. First, there's reflection.
Reflection, like looking in a mirror.
Sort of. It's about prompting the LLM to review its own work, to look for ways to improve. It's like asking the AI to critique itself, which, believe it or not, can lead to much better results.
It's like having a second set of eyes, but those eyes belong to the AI itself. That's pretty clever.
It is. Then there's tool use. This is all about giving agents access to external tools, like web search, APIs, and libraries. This lets them go beyond what they've been trained on, pull in up-to-date information, and even take actions in the real world.
So it's not just about what the AI knows, but what it can access and do with that information.
Exactly. It's like giving them a toolbox, expanding their capabilities significantly. Then there's planning. This is about giving the LLMs the ability to plan a sequence of steps to achieve a goal. It's like prompting them to explain your reasoning step by step. And it often leads to more effective and coherent solutions because they're thinking things through in a more structured way.
It's taking that impulsive nature out of the equation, right? Allowing them to be more strategic.
Precisely. And finally, there's multi-agent collaboration. This is where it gets really interesting. It's about using multiple agents, maybe with different roles or even different underlying AI models, to work together on a problem.
So like a real team with different specialists bringing their expertise to the table.
Exactly. Projects like Autogen and Crew AI are good examples of this. They facilitate collaboration between different agents, leveraging diverse perspectives and skills to find the best solutions.
It's like the old saying, two heads are better than one, but in this case, it's more like multiple AI agents are better than one.
Pretty much. And the results are impressive. So we've got a good grasp of how agentic AI works and the advantages it offers. But where is all this headed? What's the future look like?
Well, our sources offer some pretty compelling projections for the coming years. In the short term, within the next year or so, we can expect to see a lot more adoption of these basic agentic workflows, especially things like reflection and tool use.
I think we'll see a real boost in productivity in areas like software development, writing, and research. GPT 3.5 already showing it can be as good as or even better than GPT-4 when used in an agentic framework. That's a big sign of things to come.
And I bet we'll see a lot more specialized agents popping up, designed for very specific tasks, along with more user-friendly tools to create and manage these agentic workflows. So even people who aren't AI experts will be able to harness this power.
Absolutely. Now, looking a bit further out, say 2 years from now, I think we'll see major improvements in how AI can plan and execute complex tasks autonomously. We'll see better orchestration, more sophisticated use of tools, and more reliable collaboration between agents.
Like imagine an AI system that can manage an entire project from start to finish, breaking it down into tasks, assigning them to specialized agents, and then coordinating everything to make sure it gets done.
Right, and those agents might be having discussions, critiquing each other's work, and collaboratively developing solutions. We're already seeing glimpses of this with projects like ChatDev, which simulates a whole software development team.
It's like having an entire team of AI experts at your disposal, working 24/7. And they can tap into all sorts of external tools and APIs, giving them incredible power to interact with the real world.
I think we'll also have to learn to be more patient with AI, though.
Patience. How so?
Well, just like managing a human team, Delegating tasks to AI agents might take time. They need time to think, to iterate, to come up with the best solutions. So even as processing speeds get faster, we might need to adjust our expectations a bit.
That makes sense. It's about thinking of AI as more of a partner, a collaborator, rather than just a tool that gives us instant answer.
Exactly. And that brings us to the really long-term view, like 5 years out. By then, agentic AI could be the dominant way we approach complex problems.
We could see highly autonomous AI systems handling things that currently require a lot of human expertise. Think research, design, even creative endeavors.
We could see massive gains in speed and efficiency as well. Faster LLMs, more specialized agents, and better coordination will all contribute to that. And as LLM technology becomes more accessible and affordable, these sophisticated multi-agent systems will be within reach for many more people and organizations.
It's really a whole new paradigm for AI, isn't it? Moving away from single interactions to these complex, collaborative workflows that mirror how humans solve problems in the real world.
And the potential is huge. We could see breakthroughs in all sorts of fields that require deep thinking and creativity.
So let's wrap this up. What are the key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, agentic AI is all about using multiple AI agents that work together in an iterative and collaborative way. It's a big step beyond the traditional way of using AI, and it has the potential to completely change how we think about and use AI in the future.
It's about tackling complex problems, solving them more effectively, and opening up entirely new possibilities for what AI can achieve.
And I think the most interesting question for our listeners is, how will this change your expectations of AI? How will you interact with AI systems in the coming years, knowing that they can now work together like teams, thinking things through, planning and refining their solutions?
That's a really great thought to leave everyone with. Think about the tasks you find difficult today. Now imagine how a team of specialized AI agents working together like a well-oiled machine could approach those very same problems. The future of AI is collaborative, and it's coming faster than you might think.